the National Highway Traffic and Safety Administration Manual.
Is it a lawsuit? Probably. Why not?
Trooper Guarino, you've testified that you disagree in many respects with the findings of the defense expert, Rick Green, which he outlined in his affidavit submitted in connection with this case, correct?
Yes, that's correct.
I'd like to ask you some questions about your training and education and your qualifications in the area of computer forensics.
Oh, this is how you know. This is how you know. Like, you disagree, right? You set the stage. So you testified on direct examination, which we're not going to cover because Lally is boring and no one is interested in direct examination. You can watch it. I'm watching the trial channel. By the way, shout out again. They shouted out me shouting them out, so now I'm shouting them out for shouting me out for me shouting them out. It's like an endless loop of shouting out. Shout out to the trial channel. You guys are awesome. They do a phenomenal job. They cut everything and they make it look so nice. And if you hate my commentary, if you want to shut my voice off, like, well, this guy just pressed play. No, I have things to say, and if you want to hear them, then stick around. If you don't, then you can go somewhere else to watch. And where I don't have the commentary, the whole purpose of watching this with my commentary is my commentary. If I remove the commentary, then what's the point of the video? So anyway, that's for all you haters out there. You know who you are, and I love you. Right back at you. David Yannetti is setting the stage. Oh, so beautifully. So beautifully. He's like, so you disagree. Okay. All right. Let's talk about who you are. I do this to experts all the time. All the time. I talk about where their employment is. I had one expert who was working out of his home, a residential. He's supposed to be some lab expert. I'm like, do you have a lab in the house? He's like, no. So how do you do experiments? Exactly. Watch David just disassemble Guarino. Oh.
Graduated from Westfield State University in 2003.
Yes, that's correct.
You majored in criminal justice and mass communications, correct?
Yes, I double majored.
Right. You chose not to major in computer science, correct?
Yes, that's correct.
2 years after graduating, you became a patrolman in Norwood, correct?
Yes, that's right.
The town of Norwood is right next to Canton, is it not?
Yes, it is.
You stayed as a patrolman in Norwood for 10 years with the Norwood Police Department, correct?
Minus a stint in the National Guard, but yes.
You then became a Massachusetts state trooper in 2015.
Yes, I did.
And you spent 4 years in the patrol division of the Mass State Police, correct?
Yes, I did.
And that was until 2019?
Correct.
And 2019 was the first time that you took a forensic computer course. Would you agree with that?
No, that's not true.
Would you agree with me that since then, your training has mainly consisted of online courses and webinars?
That is also not true.
Okay, well, you list, with regard to your training, some in-person trainings, sir, but you list 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16, 17, 18, 19, actually, over 20 online courses, do you not?
Yes, that was during COVID.
Yeah. Well, 2019 was not during COVID, was it?
2020 was when I took most of them.
I got you. But you say 2019 to 2020 in terms of your online courses and webinars, correct?
There's quite a few, yes.
All right. And with regard to...
And notice how he's just evading the question. Because he knows the answer is, and I wonder why David didn't actually go there. Maybe because it's not a fact, which is fine. But if it was a fact, I would say something like, out of your 20 plus courses, half of them was before COVID. Half of them you took before COVID, correct? If that's a fact. If not, I mean, if he just took one and David is just making him look like an idiot and he can't remember, that's on him. That's his problem. David does not owe an obligation to the witness to make sure that they remember their own courses. If he can make him look like a fool, that is his job to do so. The United States Supreme Court has said that. I believe it is a 1968, maybe. I forget the name of the case, but it's a Supreme Court. It's a SCOTUS case that literally said it is not the defense attorney's job to get to the truth. That is a direct quote. Think about that for a second. It is not, this is the United States Supreme Court, the highest court in the land, said this, that if a defense attorney can take a witness, even a truthful one, this is a direct quote, even a truthful one, and make them look dishonest or deceitful, then that is their normal course of action. Our Supreme Court justices said that 60 years ago. And that is the law of the land. It has not changed. It has not been overruled. Think about that for a second. That's how much power defense attorneys are given by our Constitution and our highest court in America. Oh, God, I love this country.
Some of the courses that you were taking during that time period, would you agree with me that one of them was Introduction to Computer Networks?
So that course was through the NW3C.
I didn't ask you where it was from. I asked you whether one of the courses that you took was called Introduction to Computer Networks.
That's correct.
And another course that you took was Introduction to Cell Phone Investigations, correct?
Yes.
Introduction to Previewing, correct?
Yes.
You hold no degrees in the field of computer forensics, do you?
I hold certifications.
You hold no degrees in the field of computer forensics or computer science, correct?
Like college degree?
Correct.
Yeah, correct.
You have no publications in the field of computer forensics, do you?
No, not yet.
And you've never taught a course in computer forensics, have you?
No.
All right. Well, as a Norwood police officer for 10 years and a Massachusetts state trooper for 9 years, you would agree that you've written a lot of police reports over the years, have you not?
Yeah, you could say that.
Prior to becoming a Norwood police officer back in 2005, you attended a police academy, right?
Yes, I did.
And at the academy, one area of focus was the proper way to write a police report, was it not?
Amongst others.
You were taught that it's important to write police.
The man just can't answer a question straight. You were taught how to write police reports. The answer is, yes, I have. No. Yeah, amongst others, I learned other things. That is the hallmark of a deceiver, folks. When you always have to add a little bit of your own, and you can't just answer it directly. You're gonna watch him continuously do that. And Yannetti just, like I said, just watch him disassemble Guarino. Oh, it is so good.
These reports close in time to the events in question while they're still freshest in your memory, correct?
That's not necessarily the case.
Okay, so is it your testimony before this jury that it's preferable to wait months before you submit a police report on something that happened months ago, sir?
Well, it depends on the data that I'm using. If I can't get into a phone, then yeah, I have to wait months.
Okay. But once the information is received that you need to write a police report, would you agree with me that it's important to record it in a report as soon as you can?
No, I stand by my previous statement that as soon as the data is available that I can do it, I will. And if, things come up, then, I do it when it's able.
So I think you just answered my question. You said as soon as the data is available and you've completed your investigation.
I never said I completed. I said if the data is available.
Well,
then
let's say you've completed your investigation, sir. Are you going to argue with me that it's preferable not to wait to record that data in a report?
Objection.
Ask it differently, Mr. Yannetti.
That was a good question.
You
That
were
was
also taught
bad
that it's
objection.
important to include all the important details in your police report, correct?
Again, it depends on the report I'm writing.
Okay, so in other words, there are times when you're writing a police report when you intentionally leave out important details, Trooper. Is that your testimony before this jury?
Objection.
I'll allow that question. Is that what you do, Trooper?
No, ma'am.
Okay.
Your Honor.
So you would agree with me, going back to my question, that it is important to include all the important details in your report, is it not?
Again, it depends on the report that I'm writing. There's some data that goes in, there's some that doesn't. I can't have everything in. Again, for phone, I'm speaking to technically phone reports or cell phones, computers. I can't include everything. That's why we have the program that if I need to add something via Cellbrite or Axiom, I can create a report through that. If I did a handwritten report for everything, they'd be thousands of pages for the amount of data in these devices.
One purpose of writing a police report is to share information with your fellow investigators, is it not?
I suppose so.
Another purpose of writing a police report is to be fair to the people that you're investigating by explaining as best you can what happened, correct?
I don't understand that question.
Whoa. What do you mean you don't understand the question? You want to be fair in your report. No, I like throwing people under the bus. What do you mean? Can you please ask the question in a way that I can actually say yes to? Because I can't agree with that statement. What? Look at this guy. Thank you guys. It's you. You guys recommended that I do Guarino. I completely forgot about the schmuck. Oh my God. This is gold.
The fact is you did write some early police reports in this case dated February 4th, 2022, just 6 days after John O'Keefe was found mortally wounded on Brian Albert's front lawn, correct?
That is correct.
When you wrote those police reports, you knew this was a homicide investigation, correct?
I was told that it was believed to be yes.
So that underscored the importance of being accurate and truthful, correct? Especially in a homicide investigation?
I write my reports, no matter what the investigation is, the same exact way.
Just answer the question, man. Honest and truthful, yes. He can't even say yes to honest and truthful. Are you kidding me? Dude.
And the purpose of one of your February 4th, 2022 reports was to explain how you came into possession of John O'Keefe's cell phone and to note the extraction that you did on the phone. Do you recall that report?
Yes, I do.
And before writing that particular report, you spoke with Trooper Michael Proctor, did you not?
I received the phone from him, but
I'm sorry?
I received the phone from him originally, yes.
Okay. And when you received the phone, the two of you did not remain mute, right? The two of you chatted?
I don't remember the exact conversation.
But there was a conversation.
But just answer the question, man. The question, did you have a conversation? He's jumping to the next question. He's like, I don't remember the nature of it, though. Did you have a conversation? I don't remember the nature. Did you have a conversation? Yes or no? I don't remember the contents of it. Did you have a conversation? Well, it's been years. The dude is incapable of answering a question. Like, at all. Like, period.
I'm sure there was.
And you recorded what Michael Proctor told you about that cell phone in your February 4th, 2022 report, did you not?
No, I didn't.
Michael Proctor told you that on Saturday, January 29th of 2022, he and Sergeant Buchanan had responded to 34 Fairview Road in Canton. Did he not?
Objection.
I'll allow that.
No, he didn't.
Well, you wrote in your very first sentence in that report the following, quote, on Saturday, January 29th, 2022, Trooper Michael Proctor and Sergeant Yuri Buchanan of the Norfolk County District Attorney's Office responded to the unattended death of John O'Keefe at 34 Fairview Road in Canton. Those were your words, were they not?
All right, so the objection sustained. You can ask it differently.
Why? What? Why? That's his report. Why can you not use his report to impeach him, Bev? Oh my God. I completely forgot about this. And on that note, folks, thank you all for joining me. And we are going to continue this monstrosity of a cross-examination because Bev won't let Yannetti ask the basics of the questions, and she won't let him do it. Oh, it's gonna be a long day.
Did Michael Proctor tell you that he had received or retrieved John O'Keefe's cell phone from 34 Fairview Road in Canton?
Objection.
I'm going to allow that.
No, I didn't know where it was retrieved from.
You didn't know where it was retrieved from?
Correct.
All right. But you did include in your report that while Proctor and Buchanan were on scene, they retrieved the cell phone of John O'Keefe, correct?
At some point during the day, they did. I don't know where from. So there's multiple.
Yeah, I'm asking about your report, Trooper. You know I'm questioning you about your report.
No, I understand, and I'm explaining. I don't know what scene it's from.
You don't get to explain, sir, most respectfully, until Mr. Lally questions you.
Objection, Your
Okay,
Honor.
so
Yeah.
no comments.
Yeah. But it's
I think
true.
To speed things along. Do you have your report with you?
Yeah,
Your Honor.
I think
get
it'll
on
make
it,
easier,
dude.
Mr.
Can you read
Yannetti.
the first two lines?
Yeah.
Let him grab it.
Come on. Come on. Get it.
Go.
Can you read the first two lines to the jury, please?
Yep. On Saturday, January 29th, 2022, Trooper Michael Proctor and Sergeant Yuri Buchanan of the Norfolk District Attorney's Office responded to the unattended death of John O'Keefe at 34 Fairview Road in Canton. Through his investigation, was found O'Keefe was a victim of a motor vehicle homicide. While on scene, Trooper Proctor secured O'Keefe's phone and brought it to the Norfolk DA's office for forensic analysis.
Okay. So you'd agree with me that you included that clause. While on scene, they secured his phone. Did you not?
I did write that.
Okay.
I did write that, but I don't believe these words. Is that what you're trying to say? My nose is itching. He's lying so much. I'm getting like secondhand embarrassment for this guy. Good God. Wow.
And that was back on February 4th of 2022, correct?
Yes, it was.
Within 6 days of John O'Keefe being found mortally wounded on Albert's Lawn, correct?
Yes, sir.
And at that time, you knew that the crime scene was 34 Fairview Road, correct?
No.
Yet you put in your report while on scene, did you not?
Yes, I don't know what scene they recovered from. I know they went multiple places on the 29th. They didn't get back to me till 7:30 that night almost, when I first got the phone.
Did they get it from inside the house?
You agree with me that the Canton Police Department wasn't the crime scene, correct?
I never said crime scene in my report. I wrote scene.
Okay. Well, Canton Police Department was not the scene of any crime, was it?
I don't know. I don't believe so.
You don't know if the Canton Police Department was the scene of a crime.
I don't think it was.
You don't think it was? Okay. Now, in that report, you were trying to establish the chain of custody of that phone, right? Because you described where it was found, where it was taken, and who had possession of it, correct?
I never said where it was taken. I said the phone was recovered on scene by Trooper Proctor. Again, I don't know where it was recovered from. I did find out later it was at Canton PD.
Well, hold on a second. We're focusing on your report.
I know, I'm reading it.
As opposed to details you want to fill in now, okay?
Okay.
With regard to, you just testified that you never said where it was taken, yet previously you said it was taken to you, was it not?
No, I said recovered from. What, the scene location.
Did Trooper Proctor take the phone to you and
Yes.
hand it to you?
Yes, he did.
Okay, so it was taken to you, correct?
That is correct.
All right. So you described in your report where it was found because you said while on scene, correct?
Correct.
And where it was taken to you, correct?
Yes, sir.
And who had possession of it, which was initially Trooper Proctor in terms of your observations, and then you, correct?
That is who brought me the phone to the DA's office, yes.
And you would agree with me that chain of custody of a piece of evidence is an important detail in any criminal investigation, isn't it?
Yes.
Would you agree with me that someone reading your report or listening to it as the jury listened today would understand you to be saying that Michael Proctor seized John O'Keefe's cell phone at 34 Road in Canton?
Objection.
Sustained.
Why?
I'd like to ask
It's a
you some
simple
questions
question.
about the extraction that you discuss in that same February 4th, 2022 report.
Lally can't do the liar Jim Carrey objection. Your Honor, objection. What's the basis? It really hurts my case. Like, you can't do that, but because Bev is another prosecutor and they're just bouncing off each other, prosecutor to prosecutor in the room, unbelievable. Just unbelievable. Yannetti is just like, he's picking his battles. I'm going to give credit where credit is due. Yannetti is picking his battles very, very carefully. Very carefully. He is choosing which battles to take and which ones to just, I'm not even going to bother with this. It's not that important. I'll just move on. Because everything he tries to do is like, objection, sustained, objection, sustained. The most improper objection in the universe, sustained. Objection with no basis and no fact and no basis in law, sustained. I am so excited to see trial number 2 unfold. I mean, poor Karen, but I just can't wait what this team is going to do to these witnesses on cross now. These troopers thought they had it bad the first trial. Now they have to remember all of their lies from the depositions. They have to remember all of their lies from the grand jury testimony. They have to remember all of their lies from the other testimony they've given. They have to remember all of their lies from the affidavit. They have to remember all of their lies from the conversations. And now they have to remember the most important. They have to remember all of their lies on the witness stand under oath. Remember my perjury video? Yeah, the link is in the description below for those of you who missed it. Were you lying then or are you lying now? Which one is the lie? Oh, I was lying then. So you're a liar. So why should we trust you now? 20 years to life on perjury. That's how serious it is. What they're gonna do is they are gonna try first to weasel their way out of it. They're very good at it. They are master manipulators and master deceivers.
That may save them from life imprisonment. You hear that, McAlbert?
Yeah. Those videos, they better be learning them backwards and forwards, which I'm sure that they are. The liars that they are. Oh, now you have to remember all of that on top of all the previous lies, because this time you were on camera. Oh, keeping those lies straight is going to be tough. Oh, it's going to be tough. It's going to be fun. Trial number 2 is going to be very fun for the defense. That's why they brought in Alessi, I think. Something tells me Alessi has a memory about him. He remembers things. He may not have a photographic memory, or maybe he does. Does anybody know? Does Alessi have a photographic memory? Let me know in the comments below.
Very same report. In that report, after you name the tools that you use to extract data from the phone, you indicated that a copy of that cell phone extraction was placed on a state police server, or was it a DA's office server?
DA's office server.
Okay, on a server so that it could be accessed there, correct?
That is correct.
But that extraction you placed on the server did not include all the potential data on John O'Keefe's phone, did it?
How do you mean?
Well, didn't you indicate in your report that the extraction was not inclusive of all potential data contained within the device?
No, that's not true.
All right. Well, the extraction that you did contained communications, iOS messages, phone calls, social media communications between John O'Keefe and Karen Reed, correct?
Yes, that's correct.
And it contained communications between John O'Keefe and Jennifer McCabe?
Yes, that's true.
It contained communications between John O'Keefe and Kerry Roberts?
I can't recall.
All right. But it did not include any communications between John O'Keefe and Julie Albert, did it?
Again, I can't recall.
And again, I'm talking about that initial extraction. That initial one didn't include any communications between John O'Keefe and Chris Albert, did it?
I only created one extraction of John O'Keefe's phone.
Right. That extraction report also did not include any location data, did it?
No, it did.
You didn't note any location data in that initial report, did you?
In the February 4th report?
Correct.
I didn't go through the data at that point.
All right.
This is just my extraction report saying that I got the phone, it was extracted and placed onto the server. And then I wrote, this report is not inclusive of all potential evidence, potential data contained within this evidence.
When was the first time that you reported on location data in this case?
I don't remember.
Wasn't until April of 2023, correct?
Well, there was a reason for that.
Well, I didn't ask you if there was a reason for it.
Again.
You understood my question.
Just
didn't you?
answer the
Correct. My
question.
first report regarding was in January.
Wait, well, why is he laughing? Is this funny, sir? Is this funny? Is this fun for you? He's like he's playing a game of wits. He's just like, I can outwit you, Mr. Defense Attorney. Oh, I'm sorry. Was that your question? Well, oh, I didn't understand. I'm sorry. Can you ask that again, sir? Remember that the meme of the Russian guy? I swear he reminds me of him a little bit.
And we're talking about John O'Keefe's phone now here.
Yeah.
You did not report on the location data on John O'Keefe's phone until April of 2023, correct?
I didn't look at the extraction initially.
And you also did not report on any Apple Health data until the spring of 2023, correct?
Again, I didn't look at the phone extraction. Trooper Proctor would have looked at it. I would have loaded it and given it to him.
Okay, so Trooper Proctor had access to the phone first, and then you took care of it, correct?
He had access to the extraction that I would load onto Cellbrite for him to look at, where you can't change the data. That is correct.
Okay. And you would agree with me that you didn't address John O'Keefe's health or location data in any formal report until that April 23 report, correct?
That is correct. I never went through it.
Right, and you submitted your report in April of 2023 after you became aware of an affidavit filed by the defense expert, Rick Green, in which Mr. Green extracted and analyzed John O'Keefe's location data and his movements according to Apple Health data. Isn't that correct?
Yes, that is correct.
Before Rick Green submitted that affidavit, no member of the state police homicide investigation team, including you, had ever looked at or at least reported on the location data for anyone present at 34 Fairview, correct?
For the devices that we had, sir?
For John O'Keefe's device, for Jennifer McCabe's device, etc.
I can't speak to that. I don't know.
All right, but you didn't, correct?
Again, I didn't look at the extractions until later.
Right. So you hadn't looked at John O'Keefe's location data in particular prior to Richard Green pointing out the location data in his affidavit, correct?
Again, I don't know. I wasn't asked to look for that data when I did look at
On
it.
it, correct?
Yes, there's no report until then.
Right. Same with Jennifer McCabe's location data. You didn't report on that either, correct?
I didn't look at Jen McCabe's phone.
You didn't report on Brian Alberts or Colin Alberts or Brian Higgins' location data. Would you agree with that?
I didn't have any of their phone extractions to get that data, so I wouldn't be able to anyways.
But when you finally did check the location data, I want to ask you about your testimony on direct examination that you believe that at a certain point, with regard to John O'Keefe's phone, the accuracy of the GPS points was within 3 feet. Do you remember that testimony?
Yes, sir.
All right. Can you show me where in any of your reports you specify that the GPS points are accurate within 3 feet?
I don't know. I don't have it in front of me. In my reports or the
Your reports.
Axiom report?
Yeah, no. Any reports that you have in front of you or any that you reviewed? Where is that?
What do you that I wrote?
Is it in writing anywhere, sir?
Yes, I wrote in my report that we believe we were within 3 feet of the latitude and longitude points that were mapped in Sartopo when we went to
Which
scene.
report is that?
That is the second report that I did, sir.
The May of 2023 report?
May 9th, 2023.
All right. Now, let me just have a moment.
Yep. It's page. It'll be page 4 or 5. It should be in the top there. Paragraph 9. Can read it if you'd like.
Hang on. Would you agree with me in paragraph 9, there is nothing that mentions that the accuracy is within 3 feet?
From the program?
No, I'm asking you about a report that you authored, that you just mentioned to this jury.
It's in paragraph 12, I'm sorry. It says, true proctor began to measure. I'm sorry. Oh, sorry. I'm sorry. I wrote, Trooper Proctor and I began measuring the approximate
I'm
location.
not asking you to read it.
Oh, okay.
You're mentioning paragraph 12, and
Yes, sir.
you're talking about one particular spot in that, correct?
Yes, that is the spot that we
All right.
pointed on our
Now,
location.
with regard to John O'Keefe's phone, would you agree with me that it's important to properly handle and secure a cell phone that is seized in connection with a homicide investigation?
Yes.
Was it important in this investigation to properly handle and secure John O'Keefe's cell phone since he was the homicide victim?
I mean, it was. We locked it in a secure evidence lab.
All right. Well, you testified that the first time you reported on in your investigation or your evaluation of the location data, that was in your April 24th, 2023 report, correct?
Yes, sir.
And in that report, you revealed that you looked at his location data using Axiom software, correct?
Yes, sir.
And Axiom is a competitor of Celebrite?
Did you say that? Yeah.
And Axiom is relied on by law enforcement across the country?
I believe so.
And you relied on it here in terms of this issue of the location data, did you not?
I used multiple programs, but yes, I used Axiom as well.
And regarding the location data that you examined with regard to John O'Keefe's phone, you noticed, or you noted, I should say, that after a period of no speed having been registered for a period of time, John O'Keefe's cell phone started registering movement at 6:04 or 6:15 a.m.?
6:15 a.m.
6:15 a.m., and that's actually 6:15 and 36 seconds, correct?
I don't have it in front of me, but I believe that's
snap.
correct.
Sounds right.
Yeah.
And at that point, his phone registered a speed of 0.0484 meters per second?
Just want to confirm.
Sure.
The dragging of the body?
Is that the second report or the first report? I'm sorry. There it is. Yep. 0.0484.
0.0484 meters per second?
Yes.
And that's at 6:15 and 36 seconds?
Yes, it is.
All right, so now, as you were examining that data, sir, you certainly knew from this investigation by that point that when the phone was moving according to that data at 6:15 and 36 seconds on January 29th of 2022, John O'Keefe had already been found mortally wounded and incapacitated, correct?
From the voicemail message, that's how I was able to. I don't know the exact time frames that he was found and transported, but I know 6:08 from Miss Reed's voicemail that the 911 call is made, and they're on scene.
I remember this from the first trial last year. That is evidence that his body was dragged. 0.04 meters per second is extremely slow. Like when we walk, I think we walk 0.8 to 1.2 meters per second. So let's call it the average of that, 1.2 plus 0.8. That's 2 divided by 2. 1. Easy. 1 meter per second. When you're walking, you walk approximately 1 meter per second. If you have a shorter gait, it'll be a little bit less. If you have a longer gait, it'll be a little bit more. But the average, 1 meter per second. 0.04 meters per second is 1/200th of that. You're moving at a snail's pace, i.e., if it's a body being dragged from, let's say, as some of you who have been watching this channel for a long time, you know that my hypothesis, my own personal hypothesis is John was inside the house. They got into a fight. They meant to beat him up, but they accidentally knocked him unconscious. And that's when Jennifer McCabe Googles, how long does it take for somebody to die in cold weather? How long to die in the cold? Because they put his body outside to frost. And then, after he's nice and dead, they drag him to the front of the house around 6:30 in the morning before anybody's awake. Because we had Lucky's testimony in the first trial that he drove by a few hours earlier and there was no body out there. He was behind the house. He was dying, gasping his last breath, dying of hyperthermia, or sorry, not hyperthermia, hypothermia, dying of hypothermia. And then once he was officially dead, around 6:30 a.m., they dragged him to the front of the house, and 30 minutes later, police show up. I forgot, who was it that initially made the 911 call? Who was the first initial 911 caller? Let me know in the comments below, because I kind of forgot who it was. All right, let's continue.
I think we're talking over each other
Yeah.
here, because what I'm asking is, you knew that by 6:15 and 30 seconds in the morning on January 29th, John O'Keefe had already been incapacitated and mortally wounded. That was my question.
Oh, yes. Sorry.
Okay.
I misunderstood.
So you knew from your investigation that meant it could not have been John O'Keefe moving with his phone at 6:15 and 36 seconds, correct?
That is correct.
It had to be somebody else, correct?
Yes.
Would you agree with me that once investigators took possession of John O'Keefe's phone, any movement of his phone after that would not help in your homicide investigation, would it?
I don't understand.
So in other words, John O'Keefe's been incapacitated.
Yes.
Somebody from law enforcement seizes his phone. Would it help your investigation or the investigation of the Norfolk Detectives Unit to track and record location data on that phone after 6:15 a.m.? Would you agree with me that once investigators took possession of John O'Keefe's phone, any movement of his phone after that would not help in your homicide investigation, would it?
I don't understand.
So in other words, John O'Keefe's been incapacitated.
Yes.
Somebody from law enforcement seizes his phone. Would it help your investigation or the investigation of the Norfolk Detectives Unit to track and record location data on that phone after 6:15 a.m.?
Well, it's there. I did look at it. It goes to Canton PD and then later comes to the
I
office.
asked, I didn't ask if it's there. I know it's there. I'm asking you, does that help you in your investigation of a potential, or of a homicide, to track the phone and have that location data recorded on the phone after John O'Keefe could not have been the one moving with it?
No, not necessarily.
In fact, if the phone is manipulated in some way after investigators take possession of it, that could potentially harm an investigation, couldn't it?
Objection.
Sustained.
Well, to preserve the integrity of the data on the phone as it existed before the police took custody of the phone, there is a way to stop the phone from recording location data, again, after the police take custody of the phone, isn't there?
Yes, if you can, place it into airplane mode.
Yes, yeah. You mentioned on direct examination that it could be accomplished by putting the phone into airplane mode, correct?
That is correct, sir.
But when that phone was seized, no investigator put the plane into airplane mode that early morning because you know that location data was found on that phone, correct?
I don't know when it was placed in airplane mode,
But you know it wasn't by 6:15 a.m., correct?
that is correct.
All right. And there's also another way to prevent any signal from entering or exiting the phone. You'd agree with that?
Yes, there is.
During your direct examination, you mentioned the concept of a Faraday bag.
That is correct, sir.
A Faraday bag has special fabric that blocks electromagnetic signals entirely, does it not?
Yes, sir.
So putting the phone into a Faraday bag would be another way to stop the phone from recording location data while the phone's in police custody, correct?
Yes, sir.
And you'd agree with me that during that early morning hours, as of 6:15 a.m. and thereafter, no investigator in this case put that phone into a Faraday bag on January 29th, correct?
Not to my knowledge.
In fact, after John O'Keefe's cell phone started registering movement at 6:15 and 36 seconds in the morning on January 29th, it continued to record location data the rest of the morning until 11:56 and 1 second a.m. on January 29th, correct?
I don't know the exact end time, but I know it does have GPS data points throughout the day.
So you would agree with me that for several hours after the police had the phone, it was not put in a Faraday bag and it was not put into airplane mode, correct?
That is correct.
All right. Now, with regard to the voicemails that you've previously testified to and that the jury has heard and they've been introduced into evidence, you had testified on direct examination that Karen Reed's phone connected to the Wi-Fi at 1 Meadows Ave at approximately 12:36 in the morning.
Yes, sir.
So you can testify based on that by 12:36 in the morning, Karen Reed was not at 34 Fairview, correct?
That's correct.
And that was the first of those voicemails that you testified to, correct? That was the I hate you voicemail?
Yes, that's 12:37, correct.
Okay. And that voicemail and every other voicemail that the jury heard was left after Karen had left 34 Fairview, correct?
Yes, sir.
And except for the one at, after 6 in the morning, the 4-minute one when she went back, we heard that one. But all the other ones were apparently left when she was at 1 Meadows, correct?
I can't speak to where she was, but
But she wasn't at 34 Fairview.
yes, that's correct. She wasn't at 34.
And you would agree
That's
with me,
huge.
based on those voicemails and what you know about them and what we've just discussed, that no one at 34 Fairview, including Jennifer McCabe, could have witnessed Karen Reed outside that residence at 12:45 a.m., correct?
No, I don't believe so.
So you agree with me? No one could have, including Jennifer McCabe, could have seen her at 12:45 at 34 Fairview?
As I said, she auto connects to the Wi-Fi at 12:36, so no, she wouldn't have been there.
All right. Now,
Did you see Karen's face? She's like, yep, you see that? if he moved and I wasn't there, how can he move if he's dead? You could see the jabby, like, look in her eye, which I don't blame her one bit. She wants to strangle Guarino so badly. Unfortunately, it's against the law. But you can tell the vitriol that she has towards this man who is helping perpetrate this conspiracy against her. Oof, I'm tingling. It's not possible. It's not possible for John O'Keefe to have been moving on his own. Somebody must have moved him. And if somebody moved him, they might also be the perpetrator. Hello? Duh. Cell phone data is exonerating her before your very eyes. See that confident look?
The findings of, or the fact that you reviewed the findings.
Jackson looks happy.
Rick Green by reading the affidavit that he submitted, correct?
Yes, sir.
And you learned in that affidavit that Rick Green was able to track not only when John O'Keefe arrived at 34 Fairview, but also the route that he and Ms. Reed took to get there on January 29th, correct?
I don't recall his report fully, but
you learned that he was able to accomplish that by examining the data from the app Waze that you spoke of, correct?
yes, I did find that myself.
All right. And Waze is spelled W-A-Z-E, correct?
Yes.
All right. And you've previously testified it's a commonly used app for driving directions and navigation?
Yes, sir.
And regarding your analysis of the phone, you learned that there was Apple Health data from John O'Keefe's phone on January 29th of 2022, correct?
That is correct.
And Apple Health data can reveal a number of steps that a person has taken during a given time period, as well as whether that person is going up or down stairs, correct?
Yes.
And on John O'Keefe's phone, you learned that there was Apple Health data that tracked his steps from the time he's seen on surveillance video leaving the Waterfall Bar and Grill and moving forward after that, correct?
I don't know anything about the Waterfall Bar video. I just have the timestamp from the phone showing it at around 12:12 at the waterfall.
All right, and it actually was between 12:11 and 9 seconds, and then the ending period of that first time period was 12:21 and 5 seconds. And then you.
Oh, yes, from the health. Thank you. Yes, yeah.
Okay, from the Apple Health. And the data showed that he took a total of 170 steps between that time period, correct?
That's what the phone registered, yes.
All right. And regarding those 170 steps, isn't it true that this data from Apple Health signifies that 170 steps took place at some point during that 10-minute approximate time period?
No.
So is it your understanding that those 170 steps all took place at 12:11?
No. Again, like I said, the phone is a high-tech pedometer. It doesn't mean that steps were taken. It means the phone was manipulated in a way that it believed it was moving and taking steps.
Oh, I see your objection.
Yeah.
Okay, so
Sorry.
Yeah, let's assume those steps for the purpose of this discussion here.
Yeah.
Okay, and they could have been steps, correct?
They could have been, yes, but
All right. So let's assume that for now.
Okay.
Assuming there were 170 steps taken, that could have meant
I remember
that
this part.
John O'Keefe took 170 steps beginning at 12:11 within that time period, correct?
It's saying again the time frame that it gave me is 12:11 to 12:21.
Right. Yeah. So in other words, he could have started walking at 12:11, correct?
Yes.
All right. But he also could have taken that 170 steps closer in time to 12:21, correct?
Well, at that point, he's in the car.
I'm not asking about where he was.
Could not have been.
Testimony.
No.
I'm just asking about with what the data shows.
And I would say no.
If it shows 170 steps between 12:11 and 12:21, then strictly based on the data, you don't know where those 170 steps took place within that 10 minutes, correct?
To a degree, yes.
Okay. And it's possible it could have been toward the beginning, toward the end, or maybe fairly evenly spaced, right? You just know that there were 170 steps that were taken in that 10-minute time frame, correct?
Again, that's assuming that they are steps.
Right. And again, I'm asking you from the data itself.
Again, the phone says it's steps, doesn't mean they are.
All right. Well, the Apple Health data also showed a total of 80 steps between 12:21 and 12:24.
Correct.
As part of your investigation of this case, were you aware that there was a 12:23 text message from Ryan Nagel to Julie Nagel in which Ryan texted his sister Julie he had arrived at 34 Fairview?
Objection.
Sustained, you can ask it differently.
In any case, you would agree with me that 1223 is between 1221 and 1224, correct?
That is correct.
And that is the 1221 to 1224 time frame where the Apple Health data showed that the user of John O'Keefe's phone took 80 steps, correct?
Yes.
All right. Now, John O'Keefe's Apple Health data also showed that he climbed up or down 3 flights of stairs between 1221 and 1224, correct?
Yes.
And that's the same period in which the data reflects 80 steps, correct?
It's off by about 12 seconds. 12:22, 22. That's right, 12:24 and 22 seconds was the ending for the stamps, but 12:24 and 37 seconds.
Okay, but approximately.
Yeah. Approximately, yes.
All right. And regarding going up and down those 3 floors, Apple does not provide data precise enough to determine when within that range the 3 floors were transversed, correct?
No. There was a second point at 12:22 and 14 seconds that had specifically on stairs.
Okay. And you would agree with me that, and again, assuming that they were stairs as Apple Health data reflects, those stairs could have been ascended or descended toward the beginning, toward the end, or throughout that 3-minute time period, correct?
In this case, no, because there's a set point that's in the Cellbrite report that shows it's 12:22 and 14 seconds.
All right. Finally, his Apple Health data also showed a total of 36 steps between 12:31:56 and 12:32:16, correct?
Yes, that is correct.
All right. So I would like to direct your attention to your May 9th, 2023 report, which was the second report that you wrote that we've already referenced,
Yes, sir.
specifically paragraph 15.
Okay.
You wrote that O'Keefe's health data in Celebrite shows him ascending, descending 3 flights of stairs at 12:22 and 14 seconds. Did I read that accurately?
Yes, sir.
That is huge. That is huge. If John O'Keefe has been descending stairs at 12:22 and he has already left the waterfall, there's a very likely possibility he was inside the house going down into the basement, because there's a lot of suspicion about that's where the incident occurred, in the McAlbert's home. Wow. Huge.
And the native locations in Celebrite and the cached locations in Axiom both show O'Keefe's phone location by the intersection of Oakdale Road and Pinecone Road, which is in front of 36 Oakdale, and which is approximately a little over a half mile from 34 Fairview. Did I read that essentially correct?
Yes, sir.
All right. Do you stand by the statement that he ascended and descended 3 flights of stairs precisely at 12:22 and 14 seconds?
I'm going by what Cellbrite has given me from that time point, and that's what I used.
Isn't it true that what the Apple Health data actually state is that John O'Keefe's phone went up and down 3 flights of stairs sometime within the time period that began at 12:22:14 and ended at 12:24:37?
I can't speak to it. I don't know. This is what, again, I'm looking at the report. This is what the information that is parsed out of the phone is giving me.
Right. I'm just asking about the data itself. It gives you that time period and tells you 3 flights of stairs, correct?
Yes, that is correct.
All right. So, assuming that those 3 flights of stairs were ascended or descended closer in time to 12:22:14, which was within that time period, that would still give him time to arrive at 34 Fairview within a couple minutes later, would it not?
I'm sorry, the time...
Yeah, so
Maybe the
we have
stairs
a
were
time
somewhere
period
else.
that you've agreed with, which is 12:24:14, ending at 12:24:37, right? A little over a couple of minutes, like 2 minutes and 23 seconds?
Yeah, about that.
All right. So the 3 flights of stairs, again, just according to the data, could have been ascended or descended at the start of that time period, correct?
No. I'm confused what you're trying to say. So you're saying that he's at the house already at
I'm not asking
12:22?
about the house, I'm asking about the data.
No, I know, but I'm asking about when you're saying he arrives in that data range.
No, I'm
confused.
I'm strictly asking you just to look at the data.
Yeah.
And you agree with me, whenever there's a time period and Apple Health returns either steps or stairs, you can't pinpoint just from the data when they occurred within that time period, correct?
Objection. Your Honor, maybe helpful if counsel could refer to which data he's talking about and not just keep saying. All I'm hearing is data.
I thought that was
Do you know
clear.
which data Ms. Gianetti's referring to specifically?
I'm slightly confused. I know you said that time frame that I wrote in my report for that 1221 to 1224. And then,
What?
as I stated before, Celebrate shows a specific time point of 1222 and 14 seconds.
Just for the record, you guys, this is again the hallmark of gaslighters. It's like, well, I don't exactly know what you're referring to. I think I do. You know exactly what he's referring to. There's only one set that you're talking about at this particular moment. Stop trying to weasel your way out of it and saying, well, I'm not exactly sure which at this particular moment, which one that you are referring. Oh, man, these people. I don't know how Yannetti and Jackson do it, honestly, and they're going to have to do it all over again. All over again.
When the stairs are ascended, descended. So that's why I'm confused.
But, we're going to get to that, but
Okay.
I'm not asking you about that. I'm asking you about the fact that there's a time period and you can't place where within that time period, just based on that data itself.
Yeah, that's what's recorded and shown to me. So again, that's what it's shown. I can't
That's
say
what it's
otherwise.
shown. There you go.
Your
That's an answer.
conclusion was that John O'Keefe could not have been at 34 Fairview Road at 12:22 and 14 seconds because Waze put him on Oakdale Road about a half mile away, correct?
12, yes, correct.
All right. And that caused you to disregard the Apple Health data or to attribute it not to steps or to stairs because he was a half mile away between that 12:22 and 12:24 time period, correct?
Yes, I attribute it to movement.
All right. So I want you to assume for a moment, Trooper, that John O'Keefe's phone location actually showed him on Oakdale Road 3 minutes earlier at 12:19 a.m. Okay? Do you have that in mind?
You okay?
All right. With that assumption, would you agree with me that the Apple Health data about him taking 80 steps and climbing up or down 3 floors at 34 Fairview Road would make more sense?
Objection.
Sustained.
May we approach, Your Honor?
Sure.
Sir, are you aware that apps on an iPhone may pull data from 3 different clocks when they're timestamping location data?
You mean like Mac Absolute Time or Apple
I'm
Cocoa
asking
Time?
you. Are you aware?
Multiple timestamps that are in an iPhone, correct?
That's not my question. My question was, are you aware that an app on an iPhone may pull data by choosing from 3 different clocks when it timestamps location data?
Yes.
What are those 3 separate clocks?
Depends on the program. It could be the Mac Absolute Time. It could be the Unix Epoch Time. And sorry, there's like 2 others. I don't remember them all off the top of my head.
With regard to John O'Keefe's actual iPhone, did you research what clocks were available for apps to pull data from?
No, I didn't.
Are you aware that those 3 clocks can vary in time?
Yes.
Sometimes for a matter of seconds.
What do you mean? So
In other words, the 3 clocks could be seconds apart, correct?
I would have to see the data.
And you would agree with me that sometimes
This guy is not only a liar, but he's just completely incompetent. It's like, dude, how do you not know the basics of your job description, man? It's atrocious. Absolutely atrocious.
clocks could be off by 3 minutes, correct?
No, again, I would have to see the data.
May I approach?
Yes. Mr. Lally, did you get a chance to look at that? No.
Okay, Trooper, I'm going to place this before you and ask you to review it, directing your attention specifically to what is marked process 3434.
Okay. Okay.
Do you see the process 3434 highlighted in blue on what I've placed before you?
Yes, sir.
And with regard to the right side of that exhibit, do you also see process 3434 with more information on the right side?
Yes.
And do you see the 3 different clocks that are listed on that printout?
I do.
What are those 3 different clocks?
Sorry, it's a bit blurry. Mana monotonic date time, baseband date time, and then a display date time.
And looking at that, and by the way, do you recognize that as being information that was available from John O'Keefe's phone from the extraction?
Yes.
I would offer that as an exhibit, Your Honor.
Any objection, Mr. Lally?
No, Your Honor.
What are we going to call that, Mr. Yannetti? How are we going to refer to that?
It could be called, a printout regarding 3434,
Okay.
or printout from John O'Keefe's phone.
640.
Thank you.
Thank you. Now you have Exhibit 640 in front of you, sir. Looking at 640, is it clear to you that those three clocks were not in sync regarding that one process number?
Yes.
In fact, the monotonic clock regarding this particular Waze artifact from John O'Keefe's phone says 2:22 a.m., while the baseband and display clocks have timestamps 3 minutes earlier, correct?
Yes.
So if there's a 3-minute
Wow.
difference between the clocks,
That's a huge difference.
well, strike that. Do you know, with regard to that 2:22 a.m. location data on Waze, do you know which clock Waze was using for that? Or
no,
the iPhone was using with Waze?
he doesn't.
I don't. Didn't look through Axiom. I was using Cellbrite for that.
Okay. But certainly that would have been available to you had you looked at it, correct?
Well, but the artifact you show me is from the power log. It has nothing to do with the GPS, so it's not correct.
You could have looked at that
What?
exhibit, right?
Oh, he's trying to pull a fast one on the jury. No. This is not from the clock. This is from the GPS, so therefore it doesn't matter. It's all going to be part of the same schematic and the same system. Trying to use like fancy words and weaseling your way out of it is not going to help you here, Guarino. Get him, Yannetti. Get him.
Information in that exhibit to see the three different clocks, sir?
Yes, but I can explain why this is incorrect.
All right, maybe Mr. Lally will ask you.
Sounds
All right?
good.
But you would agree with me if there's a 3-minute difference between the clocks and you don't know which clock was used to put John O'Keefe's phone on Oakdale
Your analysis
Road
will
at
be wrong.
2:22 a.m., that could explain. Let me just have a moment. It's not 2:22.
No, I know what you meant.
Mr. Jackson, thank you. I'm sure everybody else did. With regard to the 3-minute discrepancy between the clocks, and you've said you don't know which clock Waze was using to put John O'Keefe's phone on Oakdale Road at 12:22 a.m., that could explain the discrepancy between the Apple Health data and the Waze data, could it not?
No.
No.
But as you sit here today, you don't know whether Waze was relying on the baseband, display, or monotonic clock, correct?
Again, can't be used for that.
What is this guy on? I swear. I mean, you can even look at his face. He's just like he's got the whelp look. I like to call it the whelp look. It's like, well, I'm boned. I got nothing. But I'm going to keep trying to pull fast ones. Hopefully they don't catch it. As Ronnie, the juror who gave an interview to Boston 10 and Turtle Boy, has said, will you tell the truth for God's sake? They're just so annoyed with all these people just lying through their teeth. It's so abhorrent. So disgusting. By the way, this is a good time to plug in my law firm. If you need a trial lawyer, feel free to call us 1-844-774-HURT. Personal injury all across the country. Doesn't matter what kind it is, we can help.
You're aware that Jennifer McCabe signed a consent form on February 2nd of 2022 for her cell phone to be imaged?
Yes.
And a full forensic extraction was performed on that phone sometime shortly after February 2nd of 2022?
I don't remember the exact date. I didn't download her phone.
But in any case, you generated a Celebrite full file system extraction report on May 31st of 2022, correct?
Yes.
And you were aware that that Celebrite report was the one that was turned over to the defense in this case, correct?
That is correct.
But you'd agree with me that that extraction report didn't contain anything close to the full file system, despite the name on it, correct?
It did.
Well, that report was filtered to return only Jen McCabe's communications with Karen Reed, Kerry Roberts, John O'Keefe, and Kaylee Furbish, correct?
That is not correct.
Did Michael Proctor instruct you to pull only those communications?
Objection.
Sustained.
You didn't seek to obtain any of Jennifer McCabe's communications with her sister, Nicole Albert, did you?
I didn't go through, like I said, didn't go through Jen McCabe's info.
And you didn't seek to obtain any of her communications with her daughter, Allie Albert, did you? I'm sorry, Allie McCabe.
Objection, may we approach?
Sure.
These are good questions. What is he hiding?
You would agree with me.
We
that,
know what.
The full forensic image of Jennifer McCabe's phone was not shared with the defense until it was requested by us in October of 2022, sir?
That is not true.
When you wrote your report on April 24th of 2023, in response to an affidavit provided by Rick Green, the defense forensic computer expert, it was in that report that you finally disclosed for the first time the existence of 3 Google searches by Jennifer McCabe, correct?
Objection.
All right, so ask that differently.
Prior to April 24th of 2023, you had not reported in any formal manner with anything that was shared with the defense about the existence of 3 Google searches by Jennifer McCabe, correct?
I never looked at Jennifer McCabe's phone.
And so was there anybody else from your unit or anybody else that you worked on that provided that material to us?
Not that I know of.
All right. Page 2, if I may just have a moment. Your Honor, we don't have a printout, but I have it on a...
So don't
approach with that?
approach the witness with that? Okay, show it to Mr. Lally first.
So I'm going to see if I can
Yeah.
place this before you without destroying the
I got it.
computer.
Yep.
Sorry, sir. You take a moment to familiarize yourself with that. Do you understand, or can you tell the jury what that is?
Yep. This is you could put in a PDF. This isn't one I gave to you. This is a PDF version of the UFED reader report that I gave. So I gave the portable Cellbrite version to you. This is a copy of it, and I will not testify that anything in this is correct, because this could have been filtered.
But your name is on there, is it not, sir?
Yes, it is.
All right, and what's the date?
So you don't trust it because it could have been filtered? You son of a... I swear to God, these people are just incorrigible. Do you not recognize this is what you wrote? Can you not keep your lies straight? Like, read it and be like, well, yeah, that sounds like something I wrote, or no, that's not something I wrote. Any individual, if they're the author, he's the author of it, of this document. It's like, well, it's on the computer, so I don't have to, no. Because Yannetti and Jackson were not anticipating that they're going to be cross-examining him on it, and they didn't print it off. It could happen to anybody. This is why when you're trying a case, it's nice to have like a little printer with you when you have a case like this, by the way. I'm going to remember that for my own cases in the future. It's nice to have like a little printer, where you can print off things like right there in the courtroom if you need to. But this slime bag just cannot even... He can't even admit, like, yeah, looks like I authored it. Yes, this is mine. Oh, no. They could have been filtered. There could be lies here. You could be perpetuating fraud against me. I'm like, oh my God, dude. You're not that important. Stop thinking so highly of yourself. These people are not just perpetual liars. They're also just insane egomaniacs. I thought I was an egomaniac until I met these people. I'm an angel compared to these people. Whew. All right, let's keep going.
May 31st, 2022.
Thank you.
Yeah.
Okay. You'd agree with me with regard to that April 24th of 2023 report. On page 2, you state, quote, in my initial Celebrate UFED reader report, and then you put version 7.53.0.29, that was created on May 4th of 2022, the search history for Jennifer McCabe's phone had 2 Google searches in Safari, correct?
Yes.
And you list out how long TI die in CIKD at 6:23:51 and Hoslong to die in cold at 6:24:37, correct?
That is correct.
And by the way, with regard to the timing of those 2 particular searches, you are aware, are you not, that Jennifer McCabe placed a call to Brian Albert at 6:23:0 seconds?
I don't have it in front of me. I don't.
Can I approach you on?
Yes.
Thanks.
All right, sir, I placed before you a document. Could you familiarize yourself with that and then tell the jury if you recognize what it depicts?
Have a call log that says 20888 with no name at 6:23. That's incomplete because there should be 3 other records accounting for this call.
Okay, but that record itself reflects a call from Jennifer McCabe's phone at 6:23 and 0 seconds?
I don't know. There's no number on here, so I can't tell. It just says it's a call log with one call that's not answered at 6:23 in the morning with doesn't say who it's from or who it's going to.
Okay.
It also is incomplete because there should be 2 other records with this. This is from the call history stored data wall, marked as deleted.
It's marked as deleted. Does it give a duration?
It just says duration 0 seconds.
Okay, and does it reflect that it was unanswered?
It does.
Okay. May I have that mark for identification, please?
Okay. Thank you.
I love how Guarino tried to like weasel the document out because he knows that that shows a call that Jennifer deleted from her phone, from her call history. Remember we went through that in the first trial? Do you ever go through your phone and just like start randomly deleting certain text messages? Okay, maybe sometimes. Like you don't want to talk to this person anymore. You don't like them. You don't hang out with them. Sure. I think everybody's guilty of doing that from time to time. But when you go back and you start deleting call logs the night of someone's death and deleting calls from your call log, that is fishy. And of course, Guarino is going to cover for her. This is incomplete. Yeah, it says deleted, but this is incomplete. Be still my heart.
Did you investigate whether a call was placed from Jennifer McCabe to Brian Albert at 6:23 in the morning and 0 seconds?
I didn't look at any specific calls that morning. I created a Cellbrite report. That's about it.
Did you ask either Ian Whiffen or Jessica Hyde to look into that issue?
Objection.
Sustained.
You would agree
On what
with me
basis?
that call and the record of that deletion of that call is nowhere in your April 24th report, correct?
I believe it's in my May 9th report.
All right, but I asked you about your April 24th report, sir?
I didn't address anything regarding phone calls in my April 24th report.
All right, now going back to when you began your examination around May 4th of 2022, you were looking for information on, did you look on Jennifer McCabe's phone back in May 4th of 2022?
Did I physically open the phone or did it
Did you review the data at all?
from, I'm confused, on the cell phone itself or from the report?
Either way.
No, her phone was returned to her and then we had the extraction. I did not utilize the extraction at all.
You never included the 2 searches that we discussed, the, how long TI die in CIKD and how long to die in cold, in the full file system extraction that was turned over to the defense, did you?
They were included.
Well, page 6 of your April 24th, 2023 report goes on to state that when you switch to a new version of Celebrite, and this
Sorry,
one dropped out.
Yeah, it was the phone call, the power log.
Oh, did you catch that? He accidentally slipped up. That was the phone call that she deleted. The log. Damn it! I accidentally blurted out the truth. Bloody hell! These guys get caught all the time. These men and women. I swear to God.
Page 6 of your April 24th, 2023 report says that when you switch to a new version of Celebrite Physical Analyzer, which was version 7.61.0.12, you found an artifact from the browser state DB wall file for a Google search of Hoslong to die in cold at 2:27 and 40 seconds, correct?
Yes.
That looks so
I'm placing
bored.
before you what has been marked as Exhibit 99. Do you recognize that?
Yes.
And what is that?
It's the searches that were done at 6:23 regarding the misspelled how long to die in the cold.
Okay, and it's actually Hoslong to die in cold,
Yes.
right? HOS?
Yep, that was,
That was marked by Celebrite as deleted, was it not?
yes.
All right. And your April 24th, 2023 report goes on to mention 2 deleted calls to Jen McCabe's sister, Nicole, who was saved as Coco in her phone, correct?
I'd have to see it, but I believe so.
Okay. May I approach?
Yes.
Showing you what's been marked Y for identification. If you'd familiarize yourself with that and look up at me when you're done.
Okay.
Does that show the 2 deleted calls to Jen McCabe's sister, Nicole, who was saved as Coco in her phone?
I don't know who it's coming from, but it does say it's going to Coco, and then, again, coming from wall files, correct.
All right. And your report doesn't mention it, but what was the duration of those 2 calls according to that log?
On this sheet here, it says 9 seconds for the first one and then 7 seconds for the other.
All right. And those calls, both of them, which actually had durations, were marked answered by Celebrate, correct?
Yes.
May I offer that, Your Honor?
Do you need both?
Objection?
I believe it's already in, but
I'm sorry?
I believe it's already.
Why for identification?
No, I understand. I believe Ms. McCabe's phone calls and all of that is already marked as an exhibit months ago.
Your Honor, I don't think there's any harm in marking this, and I want to display it.
All right, I'll let you display it if it's already in evidence. I just don't want duplicates.
I understand.
So what I'll do is I'll let you display it, and then, Mr. Lally, at some point you find where this is, and we will mark this like A to whatever
Okay, that makes a lot of
whatever
sense.
the number is.
Thank you. All right. Mr. Bates, if you could display what was marked Y for identification. And Trooper, with regard to what is displayed on the screen now, is that consistent with what I had just handed to you?
Yes, it is.
All right. And with regard to the first entry there, you had stated that it doesn't say, you said it doesn't say who was making the call. Was that your testimony?
Yes, just says right here,
Yep.
2. I'm guessing that's the last 4 of the number, because the rest is blurred, and then, yeah, that's it.
Okay. And you know that 0204 last 4 digits, that is to somebody who was listed as Coco in the phone, correct?
I don't know any of these phone numbers or people.
But you previously testified these 2 calls were to somebody who was named Coco in the phone.
Oh, yeah, from the sheet you gave me that shows it.
Okay. And the time of the first call was 6:07:42, is that right?
That's correct.
And you testified that that's the one that had the duration of 9 seconds,
Yes.
listed as answered
Correct.
and deleted, correct?
Yes and no, and I can explain if you'd like.
Listed as
Well,
deleted.
wait, hold on. It's marked as deleted. That's a simple yes or no. Yes, it's marked as deleted. As we can see, it says, yes, this is your report. Now he wants to explain. First of all, again, Yannetti is probably about to cut him off and say, Lally can do it on redirect if he'd like. I'm the one asking the questions here. But Judge Bev may allow, or excuse me, Auntie Bev, almost forgot. Auntie Bev may allow it, the explanation anyway, because that's what she does.
Is it not?
There's a reason why.
Is it listed as deleted?
It is, but there's a reason why.
With regard to the second call, that appears to be to
Don't
the
give him a
same number,
chance.
at least the same,
Don't give him a
last 4
chance.
digits.
He doesn't deserve
Yes.
it.
And in the sheet in front of you, that's also to Coco, correct?
Yes,
And that has a timestamp of 6:08 and 17 seconds, correct?
that is correct.
That also has a duration, and that's of 7 seconds,
Yes.
also listed as answered,
Yes.
and also marked deleted, correct?
Yes, and there's a reason.
And are you aware that Ms. McCabe made other calls that morning which were in fact marked unanswered by Celebrate?
Again, I'd have to see what you're referring to.
So as you testified to here today, you have no memory as to whether or not she made a number of other calls that were marked deleted, sir?
There are a number of calls that morning. I have not memorized all of them.
Well, you should have. You know that you're testifying
And again,
today.
Your Honor, if I may approach and show something that's on a computer screen?
I guess he doesn't really care about the case. He doesn't care that John O'Keefe is dead.
Thank you.
I would have studied the crap out of it to prepare for my
I've placed
testimony.
before you what appears to be a PDF document on a computer screen. If you familiarize yourself with it and look up at me when you're done.
Okay.
What does that appear to be, sir?
An incomplete PDF of the call logs from whoever's call log this is.
Okay. And do you see in that PDF that there were a number of calls that were marked unanswered by Celebrate?
Again, I can't testify to any of this because I can't confirm that where this data came from. There's no source file. This is it's incomplete. So I do see what you're talking about in that column, but I don't know what any of this data is from or who made this.
Is your name on it?
At the very top, it would show my name no matter what because I created the UFED and the extraction. I did not create this PDF.
So the answer to my question is your name is on that document, correct?
It is, but I didn't create it.
And with regard to the calls that were marked unanswered, would you agree with me that Celebrate had them with durations of 0 seconds?
Objection.
Can you agree with that? Can you answer that question? If you can, please answer it.
With the data given here, I can't because, like I said, I don't know where they got this from, Your Honor.
So who created that document?
I don't know.
So are you testifying that nobody in law enforcement created that document, or no forensic expert for the Commonwealth created that document?
I created the extraction and made a UFED reader report, which is basically a portable Celebrate version that I use at the office. I gave that to defense. I don't know who created this PDF version of data with specific things. I did not.
Okay.
Was it Michael Proctor?
No.
Who was it then? I don't know.
As I said, I was the only one that created any Celebrate-related reports in this case.
Well, I'd like to ask you some questions about my client's cell phone, sir.
Okay.
On Tuesday, when Mr. Lally was questioning you, he had you point out and read some text messages that were on her phone between John O'Keefe and her, correct?
Those messages were taken from John O'Keefe's phone.
Okay. Would you agree with me when he was pointing out those text messages to you, he skipped about 40 pages of messages at one point?
I don't know. I believe their text messages went back all the way to 2020 or something ridiculous in his phone.
He started reading them and he skipped ahead about 40 pages, did he not?
I have no idea.
Yes, you
Michael
do.
Proctor seized my client's phone on January 29th of 2022, did he not?
He did.
And you would agree with me that certainly as of 6 days later, your February 4th report, you had not yet been able to access the content of the phone, correct?
That's not true.
At some point, you were able to access the content of the phone, correct?
Yes, on January 31st.
Of 2022,
Yes.
all right? You later became aware that Michael Proctor was searching through my client's phone in August of 22, correct?
The actual device itself? Or the extraction report?
Either one, sir.
I have, I'm sorry, Miss Reed's phone?
Yeah.
Oh, yeah, we didn't,
Hey, John O'Keefe's phone?
yes, that's what I was
I
confused, sorry.
apologize. I'm not trying to confuse you. With regard to my client's phone, which is where we started.
Yeah.
You're aware that Michael Proctor was searching through her phone in August of 2022.
Of the extraction report created, correct.
Were you made aware that on January 1st of 2023, the defense requested a full forensic image of Karen Reed's phone, which was in your possession?
I don't know the date, but a request was made for the phone extraction, yes.
And have you seen a forensic image or Celebrate a report of the forensic image from Karen Reed's phone?
The redacted version that I received back from the AG's office, yes.
Okay. And would you please tell the jurors how many phone calls were deleted from Karen Reed's phone from January 29th of 2022?
None.
And if you'd please tell the jurors, other than to John O'Keefe, to whom did Ms. Reed place phone calls between 12 a.m. and 4:30 a.m. on January 29th?
Her parents twice. There 2 or 3 times there's calls to her parents, and that's it.
And how many Google searches did she do from 12 a.m. until 5 a.m.?
I don't believe there were any.
Okay. And how many Google searches were deleted by Ms. Reed at any point on January 29th of 2022?
I can't speak to that because we got a redacted version of the report, so I don't know what was taken out by the AG's office.
Zero.
I don't know what
The
files
answer
they went in
is
to
zero.
remove, so
The
I only have what
answer
I was
is
given.
zero.
Aside, sir, with regard to all of the data that was provided to you,
Say
how
it.
many Google searches did you see or find that Karen Reed deleted from January 29th of 2022?
A few.
During what time period?
The afternoon, but again, there was artifacts that I found that weren't date and timestamped, and there were some that were.
Okay,
with
using weasel words rather than just saying, oh, there were a few. What were they? Oh, there were this, this, and this. He is instead preempting the question of what were they. Oh, there were a few. But just to say, there were some artifacts that he's distracting. He is diverting from the issue. He is like straw manning Giannetti. It's so exhausting with these people.
corresponding
They know what they're
timestamps,
doing.
but I can't say for sure
They know what they're doing.
when that was done.
Okay.
This is all
But you
deliberate.
saw no deleted calls, correct?
No, not that I know of.
All right. If I may have a moment?
Yes.
Sorry.
No further questions, thank you.
Wow, unbelievable, folks, unbelievable. This was one of the most draining cross-examinations I think I have ever done in my analysis of the Karen Reed case. I mean, even Trooper Proctor, yeah, he was a jerk and unprofessional, but Guarino is just he's just on another level. Guarino, and thank you guys for shouting out in the comments who I should do. And let me know who I should do next.